So our theme this year is what she taught me. And I was thinking, what were some of the role models that you've had in your life, some of the female role models who have taught you life lessons?
Okay, well, I definitely think my mother, she had a really hard life. But she always had probably the best sense of humor of anyone I ever knew.
Okay.
So I think that kind of always taught me that, you know, through adversity, you know, look for the positive, but also, you know, to always think of a good joke. Okay. You know, not to wallow in sorrow, and to, you know, just always kind of be positive and look for the good and to laugh through adversity. Oh, so definitely my mom.
Oh, that's wonderful, right? So much that we can't have any control over, but just go forward, right? What choice do we have?
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Right, right. So on the other side, I've heard that the way that you and other people have described the Turner Circus family as a family, and I know for a fact, you know, some of the younger girls there are very close.
They definitely are.
Yes. How do you feel like you're sort of paying it forward and being a role model for them?
Well, I hope, you know, Silk's classes are more adult oriented. I should say adult oriented. The 30-year-olds tend to be in there. I, for some reason, am attracted to Lyra and the trapeze, where the adolescents tend to be. So I'm often the 47-year-old in a class or teaching a class with nothing but adolescents. Okay. So I hope that they see me as showing that life doesn't end. You know, that you can still have adventures and still be fit and still have fun and still, you know, live in the moment and not be terrified when you're no longer 25. So I hope that they get that from me. I know that we get along pretty well. We joke around a lot, but they kind of accept me of their own. They call me adultish.
That's a great term, adultish.
So I hope that they see that as that. Even if you're not 25, like, you can still have lots of adventures and still do cool and unique things. I think society has it where women are not necessarily viable past age 25 or 30. And here we are, we have a few of us who are 40s and somebody who's even 50, and we're still plugging along at this very physical thing.
Just leading by example.
Yes, just keep plugging along.
Putting it out there. So you've had some challenges in your life as well, and what I've noticed is that instead of letting, similar to your mother's approach, instead of letting them get you down, you always have a smile on your face. How has this positive attitude helped you?
Well, it definitely keeps me from wallowing in pity. I do find a lot of times that people who, I did work in mental health field for a long time, and I do find that a lot of times when you ruminate and focus a lot on past events, that tend to lend to depression. I tend to be very much live in the moment. I even had an oncologist ask me once how I stayed so positive, and I said lack of introspection. So I just really, you know, just kind of, I'm always living in that day. I don't ruminate about the past. I don't tend to be too much of a worrier, and that helps. But more than anything, I think just learning from my mom that you just really have a good sense of humor and just kind of go on, and that I guess I just expected life to be rough, and that's just the way it was, and you kind of take things and don't. When I was going through chemo, I continued to work because being at home gave me too much self-focus. But when I was working, it took my mind off of it. So I think by being very busy, also not having all that time to just sit around and have all those negative thoughts stew in your head, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful advice. And you and Eric have a beautiful spirited daughter, Chloe.
Spirited to work, yes.
Share all kinds of fun stories about her on Facebook. Yes. And she's brought you a great deal of blessing, but of course it's another challenge. She requires a lot of specialized care. So how have you been able to balance being sort of really hands-on mother and also doing all the other things that you do and taking care of yourself.
Well, I think that any woman will find that balancing is a challenge for anyone, no matter what your situation. I'm really lucky in that Eric and I are very good at tag team parenting. We talked a long time ago about that our life was never going to be typical, and that Chloe, because of her autism, doesn't necessarily like being tagged along to do the things we like to do. So we talked about maintaining our own hobbies, pursuing them, and giving each other time to do that. So that was a conscious decision on our part. So he has his time to do his chess and his golf and his homeless outreach. I have the time to do the aerials and the outreach programs that we do there. And we just make time for that sort of thing together. That said, I am, people have told me I'm very high energy. So the high energy helps. I'm also very organized to keep things. But honestly, having a very supportive spouse, and even with it, there are times when I think that I've had to occasionally say no to things, reschedule things because of childcare issues. And luckily at Turner's, because it's family centered, they get that because they have to do the same. So we just kind of all respect that, you know, family, we have to work around family, and then we do what we can after. We really kind of divide and conquer.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So what made you decide to join the circus? Run off and join the circus.
You know, it wasn't an immediate thing. I took some silks classes, and for a couple years, I was kind of hanging out there. It wasn't something that, some people come there and they have the background in gymnastics, they have the background in dance, and they just take to it immediately. I am one of those people that I had to work very hard to get the skills. So I worked really hard at it, but it took a long time. And so the passion and love didn't come until that started getting better, the basic skills. And then, I just found a creative outlet that, being a mom and being the job that I had, it really didn't have that creative outlet. And you don't necessarily think of aerials as creative, but there's a lot of choosing your music, coming up with your choreography, coming up with your character, your presentation. So there's a lot of creativity in it that I really enjoy, and I think I was missing from my life. So once I started getting into that, it just kind of created a whole passion, and certainly it keeps me fit.
That's wonderful. So for those of us who don't know what an aerialist does, how would you describe it?
I think probably the best way, because everybody thinks of an aerialist as pink. And people think of Pink, and she's on that the sling. But an aerialist to me is a dancer in the air. So I think of it as a dancer. And the ones that do aerials well, obviously you're doing acrobats in the air. But the goal is not to do trick, 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 trick. It's to present a flow and a dance and a character and a presentation. So so the character can be anything. I tend to like playing characters. So I like doing creepy or sassy or something in nature. But that's the goal. It's to look like you're doing more of a dance rather than pretty acrobatic pose, acrobatic pose.
So it's an art form.
It's definitely an art form, and it definitely is, definitely a acrobatic form as well. So it's kind of a combination of that.
So this is going to be a real treat for us to get to see up close.
Really close.
What you right in your face. What you and you're going to be joined by some other aerialists? Yeah,
I'll be joined by 3 other women.
Okay.
So we thought that since the theme was strong women, that we would have one. And all of us are 40s and early 50s, and we're all plugging along. So
it's very inspirational.
We perform a lot. So.
Do you want to share a little bit about your routine, or you want to keep it under wraps?
No, I'll give a little preview. We decided to do more of a script sort of form, so we have stories tied in. So we were going with the women of valor, and so with that, there's 5 attributes. So we're kind of combining a couple of them just because there's 4 of us. We are presenting them from the biblical, but also the modern perspective. So for example, I'm doing strength and confidence. So the song choice that I picked, typically you always have the song of the damsel in distress. And this is a song called Rescue, and the woman is the singer, and she is talking about saving somebody from a dark time. Now, whether that is a male or a female, it's but it's definitely the woman is taking the active role in doing the saving and the rescuing. It's a very, and I love the message, but it's also a gorgeous melody.
Can't wait to hear.
Yeah, and so everybody's kind of going along with that theme of picking their assigned attribute, and they are going with a song and a presentation that goes with that.
That's so cool. I think so many of us don't know very much about that, and it'll be really great to see it in action.
Yeah, and we'll have different apparatuses. So I will be on a aerial hoop. It's an LED, so it's kind of got some little sparkles to it. It's really cute. And then I believe we're having an aerial sling, which people know from Pink. That's what she performs on. And then we'll have aerial silks, and I believe aerial rope. Which is just a big rope. That's a person who's going to be presenting power and strength. So,
my gosh, it makes me think of gym class. I'm sorry. That's my first.
She makes it a lot prettier than gym class, but yes, it's Terry is a beast. So it's very,
my gosh,
she's super strong.
That's such a unique treat for us to get to have that. So if our listeners want to attend the gala and see this unique performance,